Let me tell you what's coming up on the show today. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good one. Good Wednesday show, you guys. RFK's bang the dyes in the food. No more dyes for you.
All the dyes.
All the dyes. Pete Hegseth. The investigation is super mysterious.
There's some mystery.
Some mystery.
And intrigue.
And listen, you got to pay your student loans, everybody. You got to pay them. Pay back your debts. All that and so much more coming up on the show today. You guys can reach us in all the places. All you got to do is go to www.chicksontheright.com/links. Do it. Don't do it maybe right now, but do it after the show. You know? Or if you can like double multitask, that's also fine. But that's where you find all the things. Also, are you drinking your Blackout? Because I am. This is cup number 3. This is cup number 3. And I am soaring with the Eagles this morning. Visit blackoutcoffee.com/chicks. Use code chicks at checkout. Get 20% off. So good, you guys. Fuel your day with Blackout. Do it.
Do it.
I don't know what the reference is to your name this morning. I don't.
Marty McCary, the head of the FDA.
Oh,
okay. Marty McCary.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you for pointing that out.
Listen, I know it's lame, but I do my best.
Early is what it is. Mm-hmm.
I do my best. All right. We're going to get right into it because this is so weird that this happened to me this morning. So I was thinking this morning to myself, I saw I was on Twitter and I saw like a picture of Jen Psaki, and seeing that face reminded me about how awful KJP was.
Yes.
And then when I was thinking about KJP, I was like, what is she doing? Like, because you haven't heard anything. Yeah. And so I was like, I wonder what kind of job she's going to get, like what she's doing. And then lo and behold, as I was wondering that, I hopped on over to the Daily Mail and there was a headline that says Karine Jean-Pierre lands amazing new gig or something like that. And I was like, geez, what TV show is she?
Isn't it weird how that happens though? I mean, I'm just pointing out, like when you start thinking about things, like all of a sudden, like if you start thinking about, I don't know, pants or something, those pants show up in your feed.
Yes.
Why
it was so weird. It was weird.
Yeah.
So I was naturally very, very curious to find out what she's doing. You guys, listen, I know Daily Mail is all about the clickbait and they have to have salacious headlines and they have to make you click on it. They have got to make everything sound like a big deal. Like, example, yesterday there was a headline that said Katy Perry receives devastating blow after her trip to space. And I was like, oh my God.
What
I
happened?
immediately fall into the trap. I click on it and it's like, he has to cancel 2 shows because the venue is under construction. And I'm like, that's it? This is the devastating blow? So anyway, I should have known better, but I clicked on the KJP headline and it turns out her new gig is that she is going to be the Grand Marshal of New York City Pride on June 29th. That's it. That's the gig.
She's the Grand Marshal.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. So what does she? Does she get like a scepter, like a gay scepter? What do they do? Like what does she do? She just marches.
I mean, is she the event organizer? Like, what is a Grand Marshal's responsibilities exactly
for a Pride parade? I don't know what you do. Okay,
that's so.
Yay! KJP! Yay!
Good job,
you. Does that come with dental? Like, what is that? I don't. Okay, whatever.
So, but anyway, that question mark is that's answered. So, if you too were wondering this morning about KJP and what she's up to, now we all know.
The list. There you go.
Checking that right off the list. So anyway, that's a thing that has happened. We have other news headlines to get to. There was an interesting story. As you know, Pam Bondi has been going after the people that have been vandalizing Teslas and all the graffiti, all the people that have been attacking Tesla. She has been very, very adamant that they face serious consequences. However, there's only so much she can do when there are, police who uncover the people, they find the people, if the prosecutors don't actually prosecute, there's not much that can be done. And unfortunately, that is the case with this Minnesota person who actually works for Tim Walz, the governor.
Shocker.
He keyed 6 Teslas. He caused $21,000 in damages in 4 separate incidents. And he's going
to walk. He's going to walk.
Yeah, he's walking. Yeah. He has to go into an adult diversion program.
Okay, right.
He gets to keep his job. Like, there are no serious consequences. It's unreal. Here is video of him doing some of the things and the stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
What in the hell? Why? 4 different incidents.
You know what? At the very least, that dog should be taken away from him.
Yes, at the very least.
He should not be able to have that dog.
What a piece of crap this guy is.
He's a total piece of crap. Yeah, this is not okay. Look at him.
I know. It's just infuriating.
It's just yeah. A dog. I feel sorry for the dog. Seriously, that's the first thing that comes into my mind. Not okay.
Yeah. It's not. It's absolutely not okay.
No.
And this is the picture of the county attorney, Mary Moriarty, who decided not to file charges against him. And she has been accused previously of being soft on crime. So this is not a surprise.
Are you shocked? I mean, the only thing she's missing is blue hair dye. Let's just
and a nose ring. Let's not forget the nose ring.
Let's not forget it.
And I feel bad for the Minneapolis PD because they are ripping her a new one. They said the Minneapolis Police Department did its job. It identified and investigated a crime trend, identified and arrested a suspect, and presented a case file to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for consideration of charges. This case impacted at least 6 different victims, totaled over 20 grand. Any frustration related to the charging decision of the county attorney should be directly, solely at her office. Our investigators are always frustrated when the cases they poured their hearts into are declined. In my experience, the victims in these cases often feel the same.
You got to get rid of these DAs, man.
God, I mean, this is a slam dunk case. And the only way to deter future cases like this is to show there's going to be consequences.
Right.
Oh my God, just makes me so mad, you guys.
It's true. Coda heard about the dog. He's concerned about that guy's dog, you guys. It's okay, Coda. It's all right.
You know what else he should be concerned about is privacy.
Tell me. Yes, he should. He's totally concerned about privacy.
Have you talked to him about it?
I'm going to talk to him right after the show.
Okay, because next time Coda feels like crafting up some AI image of, say, I don't know, Trump and Biden making out. I don't know, whatever kind of
he
image.
does that on the daily. I talk to him about that quite frequently. Yes.
Well, make sure that he's choosing an AI platform that isn't trying to learn every little nuance about his private life. This is kind of freaky. So there are lots and lots of AI platforms out there to choose from. We, of course, prefer our sponsor, Venice AI, and you can get 20% off of their pro service at venice.ai/chicks when you use code chicks. And here is why you should think about Venice instead of one of those other platforms. So Sam Altman, as you know, he's the guy that's like in charge of ChatGPT. And he recently tweeted, "We have greatly improved memory in ChatGPT. It can now reference all of your past conversations."
Oh my God.
This is a surprisingly great feature, in my opinion, and it points at something we're excited about. AI systems that get to know you over your life and become extremely useful and personalized.
That's creepy AF.
Right. I mean, thank you, but no.
Exactly.
And also, the former director of the NSA actually sits on the ChatGPT board right now. So
no, thank you, but
that's not okay. That's not okay. I like the fact that when I had MRI results for my knee way back when I first got the MRI back in November, and you know how the report comes from radiology, there are words I could not understand heads or tails about it. I didn't know what it was saying. I just wanted just give me the layman's version of what this report says. Right. And I just copied and pasted it, threw it into Venice AI, and it gave me such a just a normal way to understand my own MRI results. That's just one of many things that you can do with it. It's Venice.ai/chicks. And then, of course, don't forget to use code chicks for 20% off. That'll give you like unlimited searches and texting, text image capabilities. No limits on it. It's great. Check it out. Okay, so back to the news. You know how like Democrats right now are all bent out of shape about Garcia. They're bent out of shape about, although less so, about Mahmoud Khalil. Like, have you heard his name in a while?
No, he's taking a back seat.
Garcia is the new shiny object.
Yeah.
But they like to make stories about certain people being deported or removed from the country, and they glom onto those stories and then try to paint those people as victims. This is just what they do, and they're doing it again with a person from Harvard. It's actually a Harvard scientist. And so NBC News put out a story saying that new images could change a cancer diagnostics, but ICE detained the Harvard scientist who analyzes them. And then this was, retweeted by some sympathizer who said, "Good job, Team America." So they want you to think, oh my God, we're preventing cancer research, essentially.
Yeah. We're preventing a person from curing cancer. That's how they're spinning this. Okay.
But then Homeland Security set the record straight and said the individual was lawfully detained after lying to federal officers about carrying substances into the country. A canine inspection uncovered undeclared petri dishes, containers of unknown substances, and loose vials of embryonic frog cells.
That's normal.
All without proper permits.
What, you don't do that? You don't do that?
They found messages on her phone that revealed she planned to smuggle the materials through customs without declaring them. She knowingly broke the law, then tried to hide it. And now we've got bleeding hearts going, oh my God, but due process.
Why would you? Yeah, I mean, like, you guys don't carry embryonic frog cells in your carry-on bag? What is this?
I mean, obviously, you should just put that in your stowaway. That should go in your main luggage.
You guys are such froggists, is what you are. I don't know why I associate with you people.
People are out of control.
Really out of control. Yeah, but this is the thing. They'll take it. They'll run with it. Let's craft a narrative that she was going to cure cancer.
So
Shut up.
So stupid. All right. Then speaking of Garcia, the four Democrats that went on their non-taxpayer funded trip to El Salvador, one of them we talked about yesterday was Maxwell Frost. And President Bukele is like such a hilarious troll.
I love him.
I know.
I love him.
He and Trump are like so simpatico. So he dug up an old tweet of Maxwell Frost and retweeted it. And you guys, I could not stop laughing at this troll. So Max Frost tweeted in June of 2016, "Effing with my gang gonna get you spilled." So President Bukele retweeted it and just had the shrug emoji.
WTF? I'm sorry, what? No, I totally love him. He's such a great troll. He is literally at the level of Trump when it comes to trolling, just in a completely different way. You know what I mean? But they're buds. They should totally be the best of friends.
It makes all the sense that they are. It makes all the sense. Well, and then it turns out that whatever that means, like whatever Max Frost was trying to say, he apparently says "effing with my gang gonna get you spilled" on more than one occasion. And then one time he even tweeted it with his own photo. He tweeted this, you guys. He tweeted it.
I don't speak gang. Do you guys know what that means? What does it mean? Does anybody here speak gang? Does anybody here speak criminal?
Gonna get you spilled.
What does that mean? Does that mean gonna get? What does spilled mean? What is that? Does anybody know?
I feel like it means it's gonna get you
killed.
Yeah,
gonna get you killed. Yeah, spilled equals killed. I'm just putting it out there. I feel like that's what it means, but I don't know because I am not, in fact, a criminal.
Wow.
Okay.
This is our
pew-pewed.
This is Congressman.
Rosie thinks it means pew-pewed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Rosie.
It means blood spilling. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we can count on our people. Thanks. It's like, it's our gang right here.
Also, what happened yesterday is the news broke that the Trump administration is going to basically undo all of the damage that Joe Biden did by trying to prevent people from having to pay back their student loans. Now, if you are a person who thought your loans were forgiven, nope. You got to pay your loans back.
Aww.
Caroline Leavitt announced it at her presser. Here she is with the news.
In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion, but fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers, tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country. If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple.
Yeah, and all the people who are for this, like they took a break from screaming death to America to bitch about it yesterday.
Of course they did.
You know? Just
of course they did.
Take all the seats.
They need to be more responsible with their own money. And they can't just be, like she said, transferring all their debts to us. That is not fair.
Right.
And one way that they could be more responsible with their money is by perhaps getting one of these in their financial portfolio.
Seamless.
This is a 1 ounce 0.999 fine American silver eagle. This makes the best gifts. Hopefully you guys got some of these for Easter baskets for maybe your kiddos or your grandkiddos, because what a thing to have and to allow to appreciate, which is what gold does. We trust First Fidelity Reserve for our gold and silver purchases. And the reason is because their numismatic consultant has worked with Ken Paxton, has worked with AMAC, other organizations that we trust implicitly. And he's the guy that you go to make sure that other companies aren't trying to gyp you. So we really like the fact that they are so trustworthy and they care about people not getting scammed. You can get this American Silver Eagle for just $33 right now, plus free shipping. You can do it by just calling 800-336-1630, or you can visit firstfidelityreserve.com.
I love Vinny's comment. My bills aren't high enough. I'd love to pay for other people's shit.
Right?
I love that so much. It's great. That's the best comment. Yes. It's so
good. There was a Fox News report about the student loan stuff that included a quote from Linda McMahon, which was really good. Here it is.
Saying this is not fair. We can't forgive your student loans because someone has to pay for it. She writes, why? Not because we want to be unkind to student borrowers. Borrowing money and failing to pay it back isn't a victimless offense. Debt doesn't go away. It gets transferred to others. Yeah. If borrowers don't pay their debts to the government, taxpayers do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. We paid for everything. God.
Can we not add this to the list, please?
Right. How is this not obvious at this point? Yeah. Again, I think it needs to go back to you and I have always talked about how we should not have money taken automatically out of our, out of our, our monthly, whatever pay, people are paid a salary. It shouldn't just be taken out automatically. We should be forced to write checks, physically forced to write checks to the government. And if we were forced to do that, every 2 weeks, everybody would be a conservative. At least 90% of us would be conservative, because the other 10% are just going to be stupid. Right. But if we were forced to do that, people will be like, damn, that's a lot of money that we have to pay the government. I don't like this. I'm very uncomfortable doing this. It's just that you don't see it. It's out of sight, out of mind, you know?
Yeah, you don't pay attention, and it's just all you care about is your net pay, right? And what it is the first time you get it, and then what it continues to be. That's what you're working with, and so you don't pay attention to all the FICAs and the Social Securities and the Medicare. I mean, maybe like we do because we're so mad about it, but in general, that's
people why a lot of kids who get out of college, they get their first job and they're like, wait, what is this?
Right.
And then they're like bleeding heart liberals, and all of a sudden they turn conservative really quickly when they get that first job, and they're like, WTF is FICA. Yeah, let me tell you what it is. Bend over, kid, because that's exactly what this is, and it's going to get even worse. So yeah, that's a lot of them turn conservative, and if we were forced to do that manually every 2 weeks, I wish we had to do that.
Dana Perino had some good commentary about this as well. Here she is.
Over, and also remember, it was Nancy Pelosi who said Joe Biden doesn't have the legal authority to do this. They tried to do it anyway. The courts kept pushing it back. So they had false hopes, false promises to people. And I understand the student loan debt can be a burden. It doesn't mean that the system shouldn't be changed or that the interest rate couldn't be lowered. But they are going to have to pay it back. Nobody helped somebody that bought an F-150 as a plumber pay that bill. And none of us should have to. They pay their bills. Everyone should pay their bills. It doesn't mean the system can't be reformed.
Right. Preach.
Reform some stuff. That's fine. But you still owe the money.
Yeah.
You signed the paperwork.
Right. It's like,
this is not hard.
It's like getting a new car. I don't have to pay for your freaking car. Where does it stop? That's the thing. We pay for these, and then like, where does it all stop? Because eventually they're going to be like, well, I mean, you owe me a car too, and you owe me a house too, and you owe me this too. Where does it stop? I owe you nothing. I owe you nothing.
Education, a hot topic, obviously. And Randy Weingarten was on with Martha McCallum yesterday. I listened to the whole thing, so you don't have to. Really, it was Martha just showing her, here are the results in Maryland specifically, in terms of reading and math scores and how drastically they have cratered over the past couple of decades, no matter how much money gets thrown at education. And so Randy Weingarten is freaking out because the Department of Education is basically trying to completely downsize itself out of existence, which is a great thing. But there was a moment where she decided to be super condescending to Martha McCallum, and Martha was not having it.
Very difficult. Martha, sweetheart, listen to me.
Please don't call me sweetheart.
It actually does. I'm sorry. My bad. It actually does matter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's your bad.
Oh my God. I thought calling a woman sweetheart was demeaning. I thought they considered that demeaning, especially when you do it to a woman with an actual job when you don't have one. So yeah, Randy, not a good look.
For not having a job, she sure gets paid a lot.
That's the thing. I know, right? By us.
God, she's just awful. Absolutely awful. There was the last time we talked about Kristi Noem, I know we talked about her yesterday because her bag got stolen and that was a story, but whenever it was that we talked about her last and we were criticizing the way that she's, basically cosplaying, federal agents and like wearing the flak vests and all that stuff. And somehow there ended up being somebody, I told you about this, somebody on my personal Instagram decided to be mad about the fact that we were criticizing Kristi Noem looking all glam for these cosplay.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Photo ops. And like, I'd posted a picture of my family doing something. I don't even know. Like, it was just this normal family picture. And that's the post that this person decided to be like, how dare you criticize Kristi Noem? She's always looked the way that she looks.
Because this is a person that puts a bunch of crap in their face and is is a wannabe influencer that puts a lot of crap in her face. And she doesn't like that we talk about that. We talk about people who put crap in their faces. She's been on my page before and she said something on one of my personal posts and I blocked her immediately. You don't get to do that.
What? And so, but it stuck with me that she said, Kristi Noem, if you look, Kristi Noem has always been, she's always looked like this. And I was like, really?
No, she hasn't.
And so then I saw this.
No, she hasn't always looked like that.
You guys.
No.
Please don't tell me that she has always looked the way that she looks. This is literally two different people. Right. It looks like. This is crazy.
It
And
is.
yes, absolutely, she can wear whatever she wants to wear. We're not
Absolutely
saying that there should be a federal law preventing her from using Botox and filler and having giant hair extensions. She can do her, but we can also say what we think about it. That's
Right.
kind of how that works.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, yeah, she has not always looked the way that she does today.
Yeah.
FYI.
And I also want, I want to see women out there who don't do all this stuff, because I have 2 daughters and I want my daughters to know that they're beautiful without all this garbage. So there's that. Yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not saying she's not a beautiful woman. She absolutely is. And she would have been had she not shoved all that stuff in her face. Right. She just doesn't need to do it. And it does send a message to women that says you have to inject yourself beyond recognition in order to age. And that is not a good message. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, you don't.
Okay, let's talk about RFK and the big news from yesterday afternoon. So, he talked about early on, before they were even elected, he said that his primary focus was going to be on making America healthy again. And by golly, he means it. So there was an announcement with Marty McCary yesterday and RFK Jr. that they are going to finally eliminate so many of the poisonous dyes that are in our food supply that are already illegal, like most everywhere else. And so these include artificial dyes: red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, blue 2, and green 3. And as they made their announcement, there were a couple great moments. If you have a chance to watch the whole presser, I highly recommend it. Here is Dr. McCary, first of all, making the overall announcement.
Today, the FDA is taking action to remove petroleum-based food dyes from the U.S. food supply and from medications. For the last 50 years, American children have increasingly been living in a toxic soup of synthetic chemicals. The scientific community has conducted a number of studies raising concerns about the correlation between petroleum-based synthetic dyes and several health conditions, such as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, obesity, diabetes, insulin resistance, cancer, genomic disruption, GI issues, as I've seen in the hospital, and allergic reactions.
Yeah, so there's 8. I think there's 8 harmful petroleum-based synthetic dyes that are going to be phased out of our. Why were they there? That's my question.
To
Why
make
were they
things look more tantalizing, to sell more products, to make us addicted to it, all of the things.
That's so gross. Yeah. Wow. And I get really mad because you talked last week, you actually played a clip, and I know you have a lot to say about the whole autism thing, where people are getting so butthurt about him wanting to prevent it, wanting to figure out why autism is so prevalent now in this country. Like, why is that a bad thing? To say we don't want to have it. People are taking it so personally.
It's insane.
When it's become 1 in 12 in this country, and he's trying to figure out why that is, when back in the 60s, it was barely a thing. I feel like that is a public health crisis. We're talking about kids, you guys, like
kids who we will all be. He's talking, he very clearly said this is like 25% of autism cases.
Right.
People don't want to play that part of the clip, right? They want to focus not on that, but that's who he was talking about. He was giving voice to the severe cases, because all of us are going to be taking care of those people. Right. And so we all have a vested interest in making sure that this does not continue to escalate. And what anybody is mad about it, I cannot fathom.
But even if you don't have a severe case, wouldn't you be like, I wonder why I have it to begin with? You know what I mean? Like, right? I have chronic migraine. Okay. I've had it since I was 13. I live with it and I deal with it. Right. But I've always thought to myself, I would love to get to the root of it and figure out why I have it. That's constant with me. Anything that you have, anything that you're afflicted with, you want, at least I would hope that you have like this thing, this gnawing thing at you to figure out, why do I have this? It may just be a genetic thing. You just have it, right? But if you can cure it or solve it or prevent somebody in your life from ever having that thing, why wouldn't you do that? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to do that? I don't get it. I just don't
Well, it's
understand
because
it.
all the people who are neurodivergent and they now use the spectrum to include the most ridiculously mild cases of neurodivergence. They just want to be adored. It's not even, they want all the attention. They want to be appreciated and adored because of their differences instead of just saying, yeah, I have this and I wish I knew why and it would be cool if I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. I just don't understand that line of thinking. I feel like it's you can't take that personally.
No,
there's a
you
reason
shouldn't.
for stuff, so you figure it out. You don't take it personally, but the butt hurtness over some of these
Oh my
people,
God.
it's
So
off
much.
the charts. Like, I'm sorry,
it's out of control.
it went from like 1 in 30,000 to 1 in 12. There's a reason for that. We got to figure that out. He's trying to do that. He's doing it in a benevolent way. He's trying to help people. Take it for what it is and get over yourself.
It's crazy.
It
People
is
have lost
crazy.
their minds.
They
over
have.
this. Absolutely lost their mind. They need to go and touch grass
They
and get
do.
outside and look at trees and listen. If you want to look at trees in your own yard, can I suggest fastgrowingtrees.com/chicks? Can I show you a picture? So last night, I know I've been telling you about our azaleas forever. And like,
Did you get them planted?
Well, we are inching closer.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So last night, there's been other stuff going on.
Are they going to be planted by the time I get there next week? I hope so.
Yes. Yes, they
Okay.
will. Yes.
All right.
But now the question is like, where do we plant them? Right. So yesterday we were out in the front yard and, Ron was like putting them in certain spots saying, does this look good? Does this look good? So here's kind of what we decided for a few of them. So we're going to kind of see how we've got the potted ones. They're like still in pots and we've sort of scattered them around this tree.
Them. Yeah.
Do you think that looks okay? We've got like
fine.
5.
I think it's good. I like them. Yeah.
Like in a little semicircle
and they
around
get
that tree.
They get really big and bushy. Is that what they do? I don't even know.
They get to be about, they can get between like 2 and 3 feet wide. And so we've put about that much space between them to try to kind of create this little half circle around that one tree.
That would be pretty.
You think that looks all right?
Yeah, that would be really pretty. Yeah.
I think it looks pretty.
It does. Look at those trees. Those trees are so pretty out there. They're very weepy. They're very weepy and willowy.
So listen, and it's not just bushes like azaleas. If you are looking for indoor plants, even indoor fruit that you can grow, you can do that with the items from fastgrowingtrees.com. Right now is a great time to plant. They've got 50% off select plants right now at fastgrowingtrees.com/chicks. Plus, when you use code CHICKS, you're going to get 15% off of your very first purchase. Check it out, fastgrowingtrees.com/chicks.
Texas Tickler says I need to go out and look at trees. I see trees. Like we have a lot of mesquite trees. That's what we have. They're like killer trees. They're like assault trees because
what do you mean?
They have like huge needles on them. If you're from Texas, you know what I'm talking about. Mesquite trees. They have those giant. They have like stabby, like
porcupine trees. They're like porcupine trees.
They have like knives on them. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, coasters of mesquite.
And they attack you?
I mean, if you want to be attacked, you could be attacked. Yeah, they don't like come out and like stab you, but they have giant needles on them. Yeah, they have blow darts on them. Yes, Angel Hunter Wolf, they do. Everything in Texas can be kind of scary. If you, there's some scary stuff. We have scary trees. I mean, if you
you guys, yesterday I was so excited because anytime I can send her alligator stories or pictures, I do, because I'm trying to get her like desensitized to the alligators that we have all over here. And so I saw this story and it was a amazing photo of a giant mama alligator with 26 baby alligators on her back. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sure this is like on Hilton Head or wherever. So I go to look at the story because I want to send it to her and be like, look, alligators here in South Carolina. They were in Texas. They were in your state.
In Houston. They were in Houston. There are a lot of gators here. Nope.
I was like, well, that totally wasn't what I expected.
Yeah.
All right, back to the RFK announcement and Marty McCary announcement. So RFK had great things to say. Also, one of the clips that you're going to see of him is when he talks about the fact that pharma companies and really just sort of our whole food, agriculture, pharma ecosystem, they make money when we are sick, and that's bad. So here he is with a little bit on that.
as much on mitochondrial disorders like diabetes as we spend on our military budget. We can't continue to exist like this. And the problem is industry is making money keeping us sick.
That's exactly right.
I mean, it's true. I worked in pharma for a long time. So did my husband. So, I mean, it's true. It's true. There are some good, I mean, I hate that pharma gets demonized so much because listen, they've done some good things. Sure. But then they've done some bad things too. But there's some good things. I mean, like come on, antibiotics, they've saved people. There's been good things. I mean, there are good things and there are people that are good. It pisses me off because I know good people in pharma that want to do good things and that, there are drugs out there that are actually helping people live, but then, and I take a medication for my migraines. I would not be here talking to you if it wasn't for my preventative. You know what I mean? Right. So there are good things that pharma has done, but then there are also bad things. So
yeah. And especially, I was saying to my husband last night about the dyes and then being taken out. I was like, listen, I can't conjure up a reason why anybody will be upset about this. Like why would you want those things in your food? Well, and I understand the reason that the food companies want them. They want to make everything look more appetizing and yummy and tantalizing and all that. But if bad foods like junk foods are less tantalizing, that will be the best thing ever for me. Because you know what I mean? Like because he was telling me an example. I can't remember what the cereal was. Like maybe it was Trix or something. Fruit Loops are gonna be less colorful. Right. And so he said that there'd be this danger that people would buy less. And I was like, that's great. You know what I mean? Like that overall, that's actually a good thing. And then maybe, we'll eat less of the bad stuff. We'll become less addicted to sugar, all of the good things.
Right. They say though, like if you go to Europe, and you have bread and pasta in Europe, it's different there than it is here. Like literally you could go there for 3 or 4 weeks and you lose weight eating the bread and like the gluten stuff there. Yeah. The bread and pasta there. You come over here, it's totally different. Our food is just completely different in America than it is in other places. So we got to straighten that out.
We're sicker for it. We're sicker for it. And that's a bad thing. He did say, he did give credit to some of the folks that he's been talking to in the food industry because they have been cooperative and he wanted to shout them out. And then he had this little funny quip about it at the end.
I met with, and I want to commend the food companies for working with us to achieve this agreement or this settlement. And when I went in about a month ago, to meet with a few food companies, I was talking with my staff about these petroleum-based dyes, and I said, if they want to add petroleum, they want to eat petroleum, they ought to add it themselves at home. But they shouldn't be feeding it to the rest of us.
It's true.
That's right.
He's right. He's absolutely right. How can you hate this guy?
I don't know. I don't understand it.
He's on a mission to make people healthier. And so, the people that say he doesn't know what he's talking about and he's a dumbass and he has really? Okay. All right. I mean, the people who completely discount him as being a kook, I discount those people.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's no one who has studied more than RFK Jr. I mean,
I discount you if you discount him.
And it's not even just a matter of our health, although obviously it is, but our health then in turn matters from a national security perspective. And he pointed that out. And this was like these are some numbers that are just going to blow your mind.
When my uncle was president, 3% of American kids had chronic disease. Today it's around 60%. Gosh. And these are a broad category, the ones that Marty mentioned, like ADHD, the neurological disorders, ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, Tourette syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, and autism. All of these are injuries that I never heard of when I was a kid. They were not part of the nomenclature. They weren't part of the dialogue. There was zero spent in this country treating chronic disease when my uncle was president. Today, it's about $1.8 trillion annually. It's bankrupting our nation.
Right.
74% of American kids cannot qualify for military service.
Wow.
Well, how are we going to maintain our global leadership with such a sick population?
Yeah.
74%.
Again, this is also a public health crisis. You know, I mean, they are so quick to be like, COVID is a public health crisis. This is a public health crisis. And people people on the left don't want to see it because it's RFK and he's working with Trump.
Exactly. That's it.
We can't listen to him because Orange Man bad. You're an idiot. You know, I mean, everybody should see that clip for what it is. It's a crisis. Oh my God. That's insane.
People are, if anybody is against that, that'll be an interesting like explanation for them. Like, what is it about these red dyes that you're so hell bent on keeping in your food? Like, why do you not want to see a decrease in these diseases?
Right. You go ahead and buy them on the black market and shove them in your food and give them to just go ahead and like shove it in your kid. We'll see how well they do. What in the world?
I know, it's freaking crazy. And it's, you know, he mentioned all of those neurological diseases and all of those other illnesses that are on the rise. Allergies too. He talked in a separate clip that we don't have, but he talked about how kids are allergic to everything now.
Yeah, they are.
And you know what? It's not just your kids. Your dogs are also allergic to things. But there's a really easy way to help, and that is with Coat Defense. So this is the miracle preventative and treatment powder for dogs that you can use directly on your dog. So if you notice them scratching or chewing at their paws, or you know, scratching at their ears, if their ears smell bad or they're red, chances are they've got themselves some sort of a yeast infection, which can be easily treated with this preventative powder. You don't have to spend a bunch of money at the vet. You can also sprinkle this on their dog beds, which is where a lot of the stuff festers. And so I know a lot of dogs face allergies, and people end up spending a ton of money on Apoquel and other prescriptions. Don't do that until you've at least given Coat Defense a chance. It's amazing stuff. All of their stuff is super gentle. The shampoos are great. Try it at coatdefense.com. And of course, when you use code CHICKS, you will save 15% off of your entire order every time. Coatdefense.com, code CHICKS.
And did you notice that he wasn't reading anything?
Yeah, he doesn't have to do that.
He doesn't have to read anything. It's all in his brain. So when people are like, he's dumb, he doesn't know his time. Really? Okay.
Compare that to AOC on her big, you know, oligarchy tour.
Right.
She's like got to read every word of her notes.
Or anybody on the left. Dude can get up on a stage and talk about that stuff for probably 6 hours without any notes at all, and just spit facts and data, statistics. He can just like give you all the stats. Because he's an encyclopedia of it. He's been researching this stuff for years.
It is true. All right, moving on. We got to get back to Garcia and the fact that he is still a story. There was a guy who used to be part of Trump's advisory team, Jason Meister. He was on Newsmax just talking about the ridiculous amount of attention on this one guy and how stupid it all is. Here he is.
Country illegally, the only process you're entitled to is deportation. Look, President Trump won the White House, the Senate, the popular vote by millions. He ran on the largest deportation operation in American history. So I don't understand what Democrats don't understand about this. Look, if you come into this country illegally, you will be deported. You will be deported without due process. Now, Garcia had due process. He went before an immigration court not once, but twice. And he was given his deportation papers. He's an MS-13 gang banger. And I don't understand why Democrats want to defend gangbangers when we have American hostages that are sitting in Gaza right now under tunnels in being held in captivity for over 550 days. And this is what the Democrats want to do. They want to defend MS-13 gangbangers who beat their wives. It's insane. It's political suicide.
It is political suicide. Let them do it.
Well, and I love, you know, we've talked a lot about how those four, Max Frost and the rest of that, you know, clown car of people, Democrats went to El Salvador earlier this week. It was not a taxpayer funded trip because James Comer was like, absolutely not. We're done with your political stunts. You pay for it. Well, now the GOP is actually offering to pay for the funniest reason ever.
Yeah, 100%.
Here's a report.
Well, the Fox News at Night Common Sense Department thinks Democrats must be very pleased that Republicans are willing to help their cause. Turns out 4 more Democratic members of Congress traveled to El Salvador to visit their new star of the party, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Sadly, the Democrats were told that unlike Senator Chris Van Hollen's El Salvador journey, this time taxpayers would not pick up the tab. But the National Republican Congressional Committee said they would foot the bill. Common sense is touched. Although it does come with a small catch. The Republicans want the Democrats to live stream the gathering and take lots of selfies. After all, nothing shouts political savvy like a live stream selfie salute with an alleged gang-banging wife beater. And common sense is pretty sure those nice Republicans would also support Democrats using the video and selfie shots to campaign on. Usually Democrats are on the wrong side of 80-20 issues. This time they're on the wrong side of a 95-5 issue. Maybe that's why when it comes to voter confidence in Democratic congressional leadership, Democrats are at 25%. Not just the all-time low, but 9 points lower than the previous all-time low. Common sense thinks Democrats are on the verge of something historic, something that would make Gary Hart oh so proud.
I know people think this is funny, but I don't. It's still a stunning lack of respect for my money.
Well, they're not actually going to do it. I mean, they're not actually genuinely paying for it.
But they shouldn't. They shouldn't even joke about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's still taxpayer money. Like, it's just let them, if they want to go, they need to be saying to everybody, if you want to go, use your own damn money. Like,
well, that's definitely what the committee is saying, what the congressional committee is like. You
don't even dangle any taxpayer money in front of them. Like, it should be abundantly clear that the RNC won't pay for it, that nobody, because it's floating all over Twitter that they paid for it. Like, this is the thing. There's a misunderstanding out there that the RNC actually is paying for 4 tickets for these people to go.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And that's what people think. And so that's not okay, you know, because then the narrative out there is, well, they're paying for it. So they can get clips and they can get video and they can get, you know, they can turn the narrative so they can have all this footage of these numbskulls going over there and, you know, being at El Salvador with a gang member. I just don't use my money, our money, as collateral. Don't do that. It's our money. So don't even joke about it. I don't even want to joke about it. They shouldn't be doing that, you know?
It's interesting too that Chris Van Hollen, of all people, apparently really used to care about fighting MS-13. That used to be like a big deal issue for him, according to his own tweet from August of 2017, where he said, at ICE, shame on President Trump for tearing apart hardworking immigrant families. We should be focused on MS-13, not scholarship winners. And he is definitely focused on MS-13 now, isn't he?
A lot can happen in 8 years, right?
It's amazing. And it's amazing how much the whole story about the border, which was in great part why we had such a successful November, the GOP did. And now the story, the narrative shifting is so incredible. Jessica Tarlov was on some sort of panel. She was interviewing Hakeem Jeffries. And she said, admittedly, that one of the reasons the GOP did so well in November is because of the border issue. And she admitted that the Biden administration allowed millions of people to flood into the country. And she wanted to know from Hakeem Jeffries, how are Democrats going to fix this? And he's like in a utter and total state of denial. Listen to this crazy messaging.
I think it's one of the main reasons that we lost the 2024 election was that we let hundreds of millions of people stream across the border. So what is the Democratic plan to show people that we're serious about this problem?
Well, we definitely have to be clear that we believe that we should have a secure border. That's first and foremost. And I think we've repeatedly endeavored to make that clear throughout this Congress. We were slow to act as an administration and as a party on the southern border crisis.
So we have
to
we at least have to pretend that we believe in a closed
border.
Yeah. So we have to lie.
What he's saying. Yeah.
We got to lie to people and at least say, you know, we believe in that. I think that they kind of did that. Kamala's like, the border's closed.
Yeah, Mayorkas was like, the border is secure.
Yeah, you guys already did that. You're liars. So you would just, so your goal now, like your plan, your strategy is to just continue to lie. Okay. Thumb up your butt. Continue to do that. These people are just, they're insufferable because they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different. That's insanity. It's insanity. Hakeem.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Babylon Bee never misses. So they have announced a new addition to the acronyms. So MS-13 has been added to the LGBTQ acronym and is now LGBTQ MS-13.
I love it. It's so great.
It's so perfect. All right, let's get into what's going on with Pete Hegseth. This is fascinating. So yesterday, when we were talking about the attempted takedown of Pete Hegseth and how even Republicans are starting to get in on the takedown action. The rumors continue to fly about the second Signal chat that he had with family members where he talked about very highly secretive sorts of things. And it's interesting because he came out we played a clip from him at the Easter egg roll from the White House lawn. We played a clip of him defending himself and saying that this is essentially a similar witch hunt to what Donald Trump has faced over and over again. And it made sense. What he was saying made sense. He's had proven results when it comes to recruiting, improving lethality, all the stuff that we want him to do. That's been fine. But there is no denial of the actual accusation that is flying around, which I thought was kind of odd yesterday. He's very quick to talk about the leakers and the reason that they got rid of the leakers, but he's not denying what was leaked. That was nowhere in any of the clips I heard from him yesterday. Here's just a little bit of him with Brian Kilmeade. Initially, he is just defensive, and then we'll have a couple clips where he's asked that question directly.
They've come after me from day one, just like they've come after President Trump. I mean, I've gotten a fraction of what President Trump got in that first term. What he's endured is superhuman. It's not hard for me to do this job. I know exactly why I'm here. To bring warfighting and the warfighting ethos back to the Pentagon, to rip out the insidious ideologies and not compromise and not back down. To bring in new press voices into the Pentagon, which we've done, to reestablish standards and accountability, to not tolerate leakers, to 100% operational control of our border, to get rid of trans lunacy in the military. We haven't backed down. See, here's the thing. A lot of people come to Washington and they just play the game. And it's you punch their ticket and get along to go along. And, start doing Meet the Press and going to the Council on Foreign Relations and spending time with all the new cocktail sipping crowd. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because President Trump asked me to bring warfighting back to the Pentagon every single day. Right. That is our focus. And if people don't like it, they can come after me.
So that's great. I mean, all of the things that he talks about doing that are part of his job, all of that, love that. Love it. Just waiting for the part where he says this is not actually true. So Brian tried. He asked about the investigation of the leakers, like why were those people sent away? Here's a little bit more of that.
They have been moved on, and that investigation continues. As a result of that, everything we do here is above board, trying to make sure that we safeguard information. In this point, those folks who were leaking, who have been pushed out of the building, are now attempting to leak and sabotage the president's agenda and what we're doing. And that's unfortunate.
So one more chance. Brian goes after him with one more attempt to explain the whole Signal chat. You know what I mean? What about that? And here's what he said.
I can conclude this. We know some bizarre situation with Michael Waltz happened with the first time the whole thing with the Signal app came out. You believe this came out. They said it was called Team Huddle because one of the people who work for you, one of the three who no longer are there, leaked this out as a way to get back at you?
That's right, Brian. When you dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information. And again, the investigation is ongoing and that will take time. And when the evidence produced, it will go to DOJ. Why would it surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking to the very same reporters whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary? So once a leaker, Always a leaker. Often a leaker.
I just wish they had this much, you know, I guess, I wish they did this with the last administration. Can you imagine if they had this much scrutiny on the last administration, like what we would be dealing with? Honestly, there's so much, he's under a microscope that the last administration was not under. That's how I look at all this. And this is so true of the Trump administration, the last one and this one. There's just such a double standard. That's what pisses me off about all this. I understand, like, you want him to say, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. It's just like, that's all we spend our freaking time doing, is saying, just defending ourselves against attack after attack after attack. Just let him do his effing job, you know? I just get so tired of this shit. I'm so tired.
There were people asking, why are you feeding the fires? I'm not going to hide what's going on in this administration and what's going on in the media from you. Like, why would I do that? Why would I not cover things that are happening just so everybody feels good in here? I'm not going to do that. So, because this gets even weirder. I'm building up to where it gets even weirder. But earlier in the day yesterday, Scott Jennings was talking about Trump's, you know, Trump is standing by Pete and the administration is standing by Pete. And he made that point in an earlier afternoon show. This wasn't Abby Phillips' show, but this was earlier yesterday afternoon.
Is to dig in and fight the opposition party on these things. And I just don't get the sense from anybody in the White House that they think Pete Hegseth is doing a bad job. I mean, they believe morale among the soldiers is up since Trump became president. It is. They believe recruitment is up, that people are wanting to come back into the military. So they're looking at other metrics, too, by which you would judge, is this person doing a good job? And I think they believe that he is.
So that was earlier in the afternoon. But then I think that, and I don't know how many interviews Pete did. Like, you know, I saw the Brian Kilmeade one. I'm assuming he did more than that, because by the time 10 o'clock at night came around last night and Abby's show was on and Scott was part of that panel, he had some very strong advice for Pete.
I have some public relations advice for these folks. If I were Secretary Hegseth, I wouldn't do any more media interviews right now. The best way to prove you can do the job is to do the job. And by the way, with the attacks on the Houthi rebels, the recruitment being up in the military, there are aspects of his job that are going quite well. He needs to focus on that and just get a handle on doing the job. The media piece, leave it aside for the moment. And for the White House, my advice would be, whatever guidance you gave the cabinet and your senior officials about the use of Signal and other encrypted applications, just release it. Whatever memo went out, whatever the lawyers gave everybody after the first Signal thing, just put it out so that everybody can see what directives have been given since the initial tempest in a teapot brewed over.
Right. I 150%, because it's like, this is taking time away, and they're doing that on purpose, with purpose, right? They're trying to keep him from doing his job. They're trying to distract him. They're trying to get rid of him. That's their whole goal here, is to just drive him crazy and drive him out. That's what they're doing. So just stop it. Why are we entertaining this? Why is the administration entertaining this at all? He is so right, 150%. Just do your job. Just do your job, because you're doing it well. I know he's capable. We all know he's capable of doing it well. So do it. Just do it, because the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody can argue with like the recruiting results and the things that are on Pete's to-do list.
Right.
Like I am on board. Okay. Yeah. So, but here's where the mystery came. Now, I'm just going to put out there, something's going on with a whole bunch of people on the right that I used to respect, who are saying things that are entirely questionable lately. Candace Owens being among them, Tucker being another. And we'll get into reasons why in a later segment. But Tucker had on one of the leakers, or actually he may have had two of them on, but I have clips from one of them being on. And what's super interesting about this clip is that this leaker guy says that he wasn't really investigated. No one took his devices to show, oh, look, here you are leaking things to a reporter. He still has his devices. No one gave him a lie detector test. No one has actually done anything to prove that he leaked anything, but he is very anti getting into another conflict with Iran. And apparently that is where...
Wait, he meaning Tucker?
No, the leaker.
Oh, the
leaker
leaker
guy.
Okay. All right.
And he and the other leakers, he said, are part of this crew of people who are pushing back against many in the deep state who are still in DOD, who really want us to get involved in another frickin' conflict.
Right.
And so it's very, very interesting, a whole new spin on things. And I don't know where Pete fits into that equation, but it is kind of troubling. His name is Dan Caldwell, and you'll hear him on Tucker
So
talking
here are a couple.
about this
Have
now.
you been polygraphed?
No, I've never been hooked up to a polygraph machine since I've been in the Department of Defense.
Okay. Have you given up your private communications devices, your private phone, your phone?
No.
To anybody?
No.
Okay. So that raises the obvious question. I'm trying not to use the F word here because the lying is just driving me insane. You're being accused of leaking classified information, but the people accusing you would have no way of knowing whether you did that or not because they haven't polygraphed you or taken your devices, your private devices, correct?
I mean, there are.
You can't even make the allegation because there's no conceivable way you can prove
just say
that.
there's
But just back to your story, and I won't linger on it. Every time I mention this, your jaw tightens. I can feel your frustration. And I should just say point blank.
Frustrated you.
Well, I'm completely convinced that this is nonsense and sinister nonsense. But if you were the subject of an investigation, a leak investigation, if the investigators had determined that you were leaking classified information to the news media, you probably wouldn't have continued to receive access to classified information, correct?
Correct, and I probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
You'd be in jail, dude. You would have been handcuffed, correct?
If I had leaked, well, again, I just want to be clear here. I still don't know if the term they used is, and that you see the DOD using, is unauthorized release of information. If I think there's a lot of rumors and people are exploiting this that we can talk about. If I actually did some of the things that anonymous people on the internet and in the Pentagon are saying I did, I'd be in handcuffs.
So that's his denial of, doing the things.
Of leaking.
Yes. So take that how you will. I don't know anything about this guy. I know as much as you guys. But the next part is the part that is like, wait, what? What is happening at DOD when Susan Rice is still involved? Like, what is even happening? Here's
Why is
this
she
part.
there? Yeah.
Everyone knows where that's coming from. It's from the career staff who don't look like what the president and the secretary and vice president want to do. There's people on the joint staff that I come to respect, but a lot of them are incredibly hostile to the secretary, to the president, and the vice president's worldview. It's pretty obvious that that's where most of the leaks are coming from. There's a less obvious place. I just want to point something out. As we sit here today, Tucker, and this could change by the time this is aired, but as we sit here today, Susan Rice, Michelle Flournoy, Eric Edelman are still in good standing with the Department of Defense.
Oh my God.
That is correct. They are still...
Susan Rice? Like
Susan
the Obama
Rice,
Susan Rice?
Yes. Susan Rice is still on the Defense Policy Board.
Right now?
As we sit here today, by the time this is released, that might change. But as we sit here today, she is still on the Defense Policy Board. Now, that doesn't mean she can go in the building and get access to whatever she wants. But it means that she works with DOD employees. She can interact with them and has the credential and the affiliation with the Department of Defense.
And here's proof. Somebody listened to that and said, and went to the website, and this was yesterday. So I don't know what it looks like today, but this was yesterday. It lists the Defense Policy Board, and
She's there.
What the F, you guys?
Yeah, she's on the board. Yeah. I mean, but how do you not know that? How does he not know that? How does
That's
Pete?
my point, is what if Pete, what if there is some sort of bipartisan push to actually engage in more conflict, even though the vast majority of Americans do not want more entanglements? What if there really is a push for that? And this guy, like he suggests, is one of the guys that does not want the conflict, and he's getting pushed out because of it. I don't know. I'm just saying this is all super sketchy.
Because listen, why the F is she there? Why is
That's
she
my
there?
point.
She should have been gone a long time ago. Literally, when he got into office and when Pete was confirmed. Bye, Susan. Bye.
I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
I hate this. Everybody should hate this. What in the hell?
So
Yeah,
that's why, I mean, people were asking earlier, why are you feeding the fire? Because this is the fire, you guys. I just need you to know about the fire.
Well, I mean,
okay?
that's an inferno is what that is.
I kind of feel like it's important.
Susan Rice is an inferno.
So anyway, just wanted you guys to know what was going on with that. Also, we've had some clips from Tara Palmeri's show recently. She likes to think of herself as an independent investigative journalist. She was on Timcast just the other day, and they were talking about this whole signal chat, and she was suggesting that everybody in the room would be super quick if they found themselves in the middle of a highly classified signal chat. They would also leak that out to the public, and they were like, whoa, what? And so the conversation from there was super interesting. Take a listen.
I think is good about it is if that they now feel like they can talk about what they saw. I do think that if you were, I'm still in shock that if you guys were on this chat, you wouldn't have shared it.
Why would
I don't?
Wait,
for real? I didn't respond yet.
You have sources that you would expose? You would expose private sources, private information?
That wasn't a source relationship thing. That was a I am watching classified information. That is like almost like walking in on someone doing a crime.
Let me ask you.
If you walked on someone,
if
you walked in on someone committing a crime, how would you not cover that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why do you have the phone numbers of government officials?
I have sources.
Okay. If they accidentally texted you private information, you'd report that.
If you want to say their source, you would.
I would have to say, if it was an accident, I might reach out to them, but that was not what happened to them. That's not what happened.
What do you mean they accidentally included Goldberg on this?
The reason that he decided to go with this one is because of the way they were communicating classified information.
What was classified?
All of it.
What?
Oh, come on.
They said it wasn't classified.
Yeah.
That's not an answer. Are you dealing in facts or opinions?
I mean, you should be the one who's talking.
Indeed. I'm asking the question. And we have an official statement from the executive branch and their plenary classification powers that it wasn't classified.
They can declassify also.
Indeed they can. So when they say it wasn't classified, it's not.
Oh, if Trump decides it's not classified, then it's not classified.
Indeed.
Right?
So just to show everybody, this is a woman who calls herself independent investigative reporter. And in that same show, you guys, she tried to say the Fine People hoax. And
my gosh.
Yeah, in the same show. And they laid into her. Watch.
You got to be kidding me with this.
Which he did not.
He said there were good people on both sides.
He said, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally.
Is that the full quote?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I mean, I have to look back on it.
Wait, now you.
Oh, really? Do you? In this investigative journalist.
Can you even?
Gee, have you not heard the full context, you idiot?
Oh my God. That was unbelievable to me.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Journalism, everybody. Journalism.
Yeah.
My dogs
so much journalism.
They're killing each other behind me. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to kick them out of this room. Hold on. I'm sorry. Get out. Everybody out. Come on.
I know you guys love when you see the doggos though, but I think she just gets distracted and she just can't.
Good Lord. I'm sorry, everybody. I apologize. They're criminals.
Everybody likes it. I think you just get distracted by it.
They're so loud. They're so loud. There's like the everything, and then they're killing each other, and everything is destroyed in my office. This is.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's talk about, why did I say Howard? Oh, that says Harvard. Sorry, I can't read my own writing. So we were talking about how, Tucker, Candace, there's a lot of folks on the right who have they've just said questionable things a lot of the time lately, especially Candace, who seems to only care about how often she can find a reason to talk negatively about Jews.
To hate Jewish people. To hate Jewish people.
It's her big thing now. Like it's almost all consuming.
I'm just waiting for her to dye her hair purple.
So now, and we've talked about it earlier in the week, Harvard, of course, super mad that Trump has said, we're not giving you billions of dollars in funding from taxpayers because you won't do the very basics that are required to keep Jewish students safe. And until you show that you can use your own endowment of 50-some billion dollars and take care of yourself. The taxpayers are not funding Jewish people getting harassed. Sorry. Naturally, Candace is siding with Harvard and says that you should too.
Administration is fighting against free speech in America. And that is very sad for me to say and to report as someone who has been a supporter of Donald Trump. We cannot allow our rights to be infringed upon. And if you think it's going to stop with college campuses, you're out of your mind. So you better buck up and root for Harvard University in this fight. You better hope that they defeat the Trump administration and this absurd definition. They even include parts of the Bible. They're like, you can't say that the Jews had anything to do with Christ, killing Christ, which is, you know what that is? It's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Catholic.
She is exhausting. Oh my God.
The Jews, those Jews. They're just a bad Jews.
It's out of control.
It is really bad.
Scott Jennings. I know this is the third clip. I know. But I don't think we had a single one yesterday. So I feel like we're making
up for last time. Yeah. What happened yesterday?
Well, the weekend happened.
Yeah,
maybe we did have one yesterday, but not on Monday.
Very Scottless. Yeah.
It was very Scottless. So we're making up. Anyway, he was talking about the whole Harvard debacle yesterday on a panel, and here he is.
You all know what's been going on these campuses. They are chasing the Jewish kids around the campuses. They are terrorizing them. They are violating their civil rights. The administration believes they have violated their federally protected rights. This all goes back to the core issue. The Ivy League schools and a lot of universities did not stand up for Jewish students when they should have, and when they were warned by the U.S. Congress last year, they should have done it then. Now they're locked in these battles now. You all say these campuses should fight back against Trump. Who were they fighting for? The people who are terrorizing the Jewish kids? I hope that's not what you mean. I think Trump is standing up for these Jewish students in a good way, and I hope he prevails.
Do you think those pro-Palestine kids would stick up for Candace and her kids? Just wondering.
Yeah. And then, Tucker also has been platforming some very questionable people. And it's a problem. It's made me lose. I just feel like he's losing credibility, at least with me personally. Not that he gives a crap about how credible he is to me.
Doesn't know we exist. Right.
Right. But I think there's a lot of people out there that feel similarly, that are just worried about how just narrow and focused in on some of these weird issues he is. And I don't know who the woman is who is talking about Tucker's following and some of the quotes that have recently come from his show, but it's pretty alarming when you think about it in totality, especially given how much he and Candace focus on this now. Here is a woman pointing this out far better than I can.
It is not.
We
this
obviously
is the core issue.
Need to.
Does anybody know how many followers Tucker Carlson has on X, for example? I'll give you a hint. It's more than there are Jews in the world. Okay? And here are the things, since October 7th, I have a list here, that have come out of either Tucker's mouth or the mouths of guests that he proudly endorses. The Mossad carried out 9/11 and assassinated JFK. October 7th was a false flag attack. Stalin was a Jew, so was Ataturk. Jews were kidnapping Christian children in Nazi Germany. The Star of David has satanic origins. Israel oppresses Christians. Hitler wasn't as bad as people imagine, and Nazi atrocities were exaggerated. Anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism.
I mean,
yeah.
Why I just can't.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
Cannot
Questions.
deal.
Yeah, we have questions.
Lot of questions. And I know one question that everybody here has had on their minds ahead of all else is, how the heck is Rosie O'Donnell doing there in Ireland?
Oh my gosh.
Right?
She doing all right? Top of the morning to you.
Well, she said that she's been welcomed. She has no regrets about leaving the United States for Ireland. She's been welcomed to Ireland with open arms. And here is the reason that she had to go.
After reading Project 2025, that if Trump got in, it was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country. And although I was not one of the celebrities who announced that that's what I would do, I made the decision within my family and my therapist, and should he win. And then when he did, we made the plan into action, and we were gone before he was inaugurated.
Is her non-binary child like the 3-year-old, the really itty bitty one? Because
she has a 3-year-old?
I don't know. I'm asking. Like, I don't know. Is it a little kid or is it a big kid?
I feel like it's a teenager-y kind of kid.
Is it a teenager-y kid? It's okay. Either way, non-binary. Really? Okay.
I know, it's so ridiculous.
All right. And also, these people live in their own worlds of victimhood. You're fine. You know, you've lost no rights. You are not a victim, but you're obsessed with being a victim. People like that concern me.
Raise your hand if you think she actually read 900 pages of Project 2025.
Raise your hand if you think she read 3 pages of Project 2025. And he's not ruling by Project 2025. How many times have we said that? How many times has he said that? It's not his brain. That's not his. I just, these people want so badly to be victims. It's a sickness. I feel sorry for her.
And they just get to a point where, you know, she probably hasn't even read the table of contents of Project 2025, but she knows the narrative that Democrats spun for her during the election cycle. And she just clung to it, much the same way that she clings to the narrative that's going around right now that you referenced earlier, that people are criticizing RFK for somehow insulting everybody with autism because he said that a certain sect of autistic people will not be able to live on their own, be taxpayers, etc.
Which is true. Which is absolutely true. Yeah.
Right. And amazingly, that it was Wolf Blitzer who was talking to her in that clip that you just saw. They decided to ask Rosie's thoughts on RFK Jr. and the comments that he made about autism. They play her the isolated clip of him saying all the things that these kids cannot do. And then at the very end of it, the one reporter, the other, not Wolf, but the lady that's on with him says, now we should say that he was talking specifically about a certain sect of people. It's an aside. Like she barely, she does that just to save her own ass, but nobody cares about it. They are so hyper-focused on this ridiculous narrative. Rosie's bought in. Here it is.
He do what the Heritage Foundation said he was going to do in that Project 2025, that we were going to be in big trouble. And it's as bad as they promised and even a little bit worse. And it's been heartbreaking and personally very, very sad to watch.
I want to get your reaction to something that RFK Jr., the HHS secretary, recently said that sparked controversy with these comments about autistic people.
These are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted.
Some of them won't.
Now, he has since clarified that he was talking about a subset of people with severe autism. I just want to make sure that that's out there, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's very disrespectful. I think it's disgraceful. And I think he is wholly unqualified to be the head of Health and Human Services. I think most of the cabinet picks that Donald Trump has made are part of his vision of a reality show government and not the most qualified people available, especially Robert Kennedy. And to think that his family is the one that created the Special Olympics and he would go on with such disgraceful, dehumanizing remarks is absolutely deplorable. And I feel he should resign or be released from his position.
Right. Because I mean, we're at 1 in 12 now, Rosie. We're at 1 in 12 kids has autism. I think that, you know, we should just totally not have him there. And we should just go to every kid has autism. I think that's a greater, like, because we're on
autism
our way.
For everybody.
Every kid has autism. That's what we should really go towards. We should just ignore it and just kick him out of there and have him not help anybody and be in a position where he doesn't want to help kids because what is that? What is that? And you know what? That whole like ignorance of, I'm just going to take this one clip and I'm going to use this tiny little clip where even though that chick tried to say, she is trying to cover her ass and say, you know, it's part of a larger clip. It's the whole there are fine people on both sides thing again.
Right.
It's exactly what we're dealing with again. Oh, it drives me crazy. It's not the full context. I'm so sick of it. I'm seeing it everywhere.
When she said that, when she was covering her own ass, she also did it wrong because she said he has since clarified. No, he was very clear in the original remarks.
Right.
You all just chose not to see it.
Right.
And so that was even bull crap.
Yeah, I think that's if that's what they want, if they want every kid to have autism, regardless of where they are on the spectrum, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to live in that world where every kid has it. I don't. I'd rather try to solve the problem. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, imagine that.
Imagine Lord.
Also, I know while you were saving space in your minds for Rosie O'Donnell and wondering how she was doing, and you're welcome for that update, I know you were also thinking about John Legend, because who among us doesn't always have him on the brain?
Right. I know.
Well, John Legend is John Legending just as hard as he ever did, calling Trump all the names and making up all the things. Here he is recently.
Why do you think that he's latched on to diversity so much?
Oh, he's a bigot. So it's a belief that there's a hierarchy of racial groups and that his group is superior, genetically superior. He believes that.
Right.
Whenever he talks about competence and qualifications, any white man will do for him. Look at the last guy who was Secretary of Defense. He was a 4-star general, supremely qualified black man. And then see who he puts in after him. That's the level of bigotry that he has. Any white man is better than that.
Yeah. Let's not talk about Marco Rubio or Tulsi Gabbard or like the gay people that are in his cabinet or all the, seriously, it is like different ethnicities. And I mean, he just like focuses on Pete Hegseth, which is really interesting. Also, let's talk about your wife who is a bully and tells people to kill themselves.
And let's talk about the 4-star general that you just mentioned, who legit was AWOL in the hospital without bothering to tell his chain of command, the president, what was going on.
Melanin, Mom.
God.
Come on. Did you not see his melanin? Did you not?
I did.
Did you see it? You're a bigot. You're a bigot.
Do you guys remember when we all collectively freaked out yesterday over the Australian twin sisters who talk together? Like they share a brain. So that got a lot of attention all over the world. And now they've been going on all the talk shows. And there was one talk show in particular that asked them specifically about their unique communication style. And so here's more from those crazy twin sisters.
We have tried to talk separately, but we're not ourselves.
Clearly,
yes.
Speaking in unison is a thing that you do. How?
Yeah, that's right.
How does this happen?
Well, it just happens, and we don't know why. But we have tried to talk separately, but we're not ourselves. It's not us, and it's very hard. And yeah, and we don't care about the critics. We tell people if you can't stand listening to us, simply just switch off the TV.
Do not switch off the TV.
Guys,
do not
say that. Okay, please, no.
I want to be clear on that. But sorry, how does it feel? Paula, I'm going to ask you a question and I want you only to answer it, Paula.
Okay, well, I'll try and answer it as best as I can.
Okay, I can see Bridget trying to speak.
I also think it didn't feel right.
It's so... how do you know? What is going on that means that when one of you speaks, the other one just instinctively has the same thing to say? What's going on?
Oh, guess what? I wish I could answer that question. It just happens.
Her sister's like, she's like doing this. Somebody said in our comments, red rum. That's you guys. That is so creepy.
So creepy. They were asked too if they've ever had a boyfriend. They said that they don't have time and that men are just a big fat problem. But to their credit, they work for a bird sanctuary. So that is
So
their
they're just
job.
they're talking to birds all day.
They talk to birds all day.
That tracks. It totally tracks, doesn't it? Doesn't it, you guys? Yeah. They're bird ladies.
They're bird ladies.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for some My Pillow Talks. I'm sorry, you guys, but I cannot get enough of the videos that make fun of the space chicks. I cannot. They're so good. They keep coming. And there's this one from this guy. I don't know who this guy is. I love him. He's talking about how this could actually solve a lot of world problems if we just start sending more celebrities in more rockets. Here he is to explain.
I like this idea of filling rockets full of celebrities, but instead of sending them to space, what if we shoot one at like Russia or China, just to let them know we mean business? Like go grab Lady Gaga, Ben Affleck, as many of the Kardashians you can fit, put them in a big metal tube and just throw it at Moscow and see if they surrender. They'll probably just be like, oh, here's Ukraine, you can have it all back, and we'll give you Yugoslavia. I don't even know if they have Yugoslavia, but they'll get it. Or China, like imagine Katy Perry walking out of a crater in Beijing holding a flower, and she kisses the ground and gives a little speech about love. You don't think the Chinese are going to know we mean business at that point?
That's true.
Drop a Taylor Swift on a Saudi Arabia, and I don't even know if we're mad at Saudi Arabia, but just like a preemptive let them know kind of a thing. Get the ladies from Wicked, Ariana Grande, Jada Pinkett Smith, shoot them at Gaza and see if both sides are just willing to come to the table after that. I think it's going to work. If you want to end the war, you got to try stuff like this. And if it doesn't help, then we did our best. No givesies, backsies. And then but at least we tried. So hope this helps.
No givesies, backsies. I like that. Just keep them all there. That's especially the Kardashians and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Jada Pinkett Smith. I love that he said that.
I know, right? So great.
And then he was like, I don't even know if we're mad at Saudi Arabia, but maybe this will help.
I need the picture of the panda with the guns behind him. It's like I was so fixated on that. I need that in my office immediately.
This next one is so there's a guy who's down and out. He's having he's struggling in life, right? But now that he finds out that these women went up to space for 11 minutes, everything is fine. And you'll see how.
Can't afford rent, gas, or food. We're in a global trade war. What are we going to do? Bro, didn't you hear? We're good now. Our problems are solved. Are you even listening to me? I can't afford to feed my kids. So unless a couple of has-been celebrities went into space, I don't want to hear it. Bro, Katy Perry went into space.
Yeah.
Don't give me hope. Are you messing with me? No, they didn't. They went into space for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Did they come back thinking that they're better than everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Katy Perry said that you don't know the love inside of you until you've been in space. Was it crowdfunded or funded by an evil billionaire? Jeff Bezos. That's worse than Elon. It really isn't. Did they take away attention from actual female astronauts and undermine the intense process of actually becoming one? They all called themselves astronauts and to trip an enormous victory for feminism. We're gonna be okay. They saved us.
True. They did. They saved all of us, you guys. Thank goodness for that.
Everything's fine now.
Especially Lauren Sanchez with all the bolt-ons and everything.
Yes.
Thank goodness
yes.
for her. Yeah. She took one for the team by boinking that guy, right?
She saved the world, honestly.
She did. Thank goodness.
Saved the world. In your never-ending quest to get a cat through the cat distribution system, I would like you to see how cats sometimes react with food.
Okay. Oh my God, I need one. I need a cat. Oh my gosh, they're so excited to eat. Oh my gosh. What is
Do these cats ever get fed?
My gosh.
Jesus!
So happy to eat. Tiny kitty. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. It's a red one. I need a red one, you guys. I have to get a red one.
Okay, so now this next one, this is going to be us, you and me on the Pond Peninsula out back, hanging with the gator. And if it gets a little too close, we're just going to do this.
I'm going to get Ron's gun. No.
See, you got this? Yeah, you don't need me. Yeah, you don't need me. Hell no, you don't need me, man. Come on. And I think I'm having a panic attack.
That's me.
White women ain't scared of shit. I keep telling y'all. No, honey, go back in the water, okay? Can't you see I'm trying to have a picnic with my mom? It's Easter Sunday, baby. And you're interrupting us, okay? Now you can come back later if you want to hang out and get some treats, okay? But for right now, can you please give us some space? Thank you so much. White women ain't scared of shit.
It's true. It's so true.
Oh my God.
White women really aren't scared of shit. It's true. Mock is like, name them, you guys.
I haven't. I really haven't. I mean, the daughter of like one of our neighbors who's an alligator expert, like that's her legit job in life, is she deals with alligators. She named one of them. She named like the big fat one, Snappy Gilmore.
I thought you were like, their names are Sunny and Cher. I love them.
There's rumors that there might be a third. I have not seen the third. I've only seen the two. And honestly, I haven't even seen the second one in a while. I've only seen the guy.
If I see them in her backyard, I will not go in her backyard. I will not.
I don't think you have, and I don't think you understand how genuinely far away they are. Even when we're in the backyard, they're pretty far.
If I can see them, I'm not going out there. I'm not.
They can't get you. They can't.
They can run. You guys know how fast they can run?
But I mean, you'll see. Like, I promise you there is nothing
grabbing Ron's firearm, and I'll go out there with a firearm. I will go out there strapped, man.
John says I should call him my mockadiles.
Totally. Yes.
I love that so much.
Yes,
oh my God, I love it.
The mockadiles.
I love that so much. All right, we do have some thank yous from the Ball Pit crew. Kelly 1106 said, obviously you don't have to agree or even like everyone. However, Nancy Mace needs to remember governors represent everyone in their state. She may want to take a beat.
Take a beat.
And breathe.
Take it.
Take that beat, Nancy. Just take it.
Mm-hmm.
Lordzen said, Don Bacon was my husband's base commander when we were based at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. He was a good guy. So disappointing. She's referring, of course, to him saying that Pete Hegseth should go.
Yeah.
And then Deanna Hale said, my sheriff, Chad Bianco, was the first Republican candidate to put his hat in here in California. He kept our county open during COVID shutdowns. He helped reverse the tough on crime bills so we could arrest shoplifters again. He is a patriot. He's our guy, not Steve Hilton.
Okay. All right.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Also, Kelly Wiseman on Venmo said, happy Dad Joke Wednesday, jerks. I got an email saying Google Maps can read maps backwards. It's obviously spam.
My God. Okay.
Wanda, there's Wanda.
Hey,
Wanda says, get to watch live this morning while sipping my Blackout Coffee, chocolate cherry.
Yum.
Yeah, it's a good flavor. As hubby plants our fast-growing tree azaleas. Take my money. You're planting azaleas too? That's so fun.
Gosh.
I love it. Autumn Venata says, Dad Joke Wednesday, I'm going to write a book about all the things I should have done with my life. I'm going to call it Autobiography.
Oughta.
Get
like
it?
I ought to
Oughta.
do it. I ought to do it. I get it.
Oh my gosh. Trisha Gamble says $17 in honor of one of my granddaughter's birthdays today. She's turning 17.
Wow.
She's a conservative Christian, a great student, a dancer, and loves Trump. Thanks for all you do. I try to never miss the show if I can help it. Love you, chicks. Thank you so much. Oh, and she went on to say, I forgot to say the birthday girl's name. So $23 more for April 23rd. Happy birthday to my granddaughter, Mallory.
I love that name.
Me too. Keep fighting the loony libs to help make America great again for our kids and grandkids.
Great name.
And then over on Locals, Minnesota Solar Baby says, Daisy me rollin'. Daisy being the leader of her own chick gang. No spilling, just chilling with all the things.
That's
Balls.
Right. That's right. That's right.
All right, now you.
All right, Curio 23. How does a penguin build its house? It glues it together. Take my money, jerks. That was good, Curio 23. I like that one. Randy Craig. I asked my wife if I was the only one she'd been with. She said yes. All the others were 8s and 9s out of 10.
Oh,
see what you did there. See what you did there, Randy. Aaron Krieger. My friends laughed at me when I told them I was inventing an invisibility serum. I wish they could see me now. Love you, jerks. Take my money. These are good ones today. Juice Elias, Grift Incorporated.
822. What were we talking about?
I can't remember.
Grift Incorporated. That was at 822. So I don't remember.
Something that has to do with government employees taking our money. So it was probably something to do with like them going to El Salvador or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably. Jose Rodriguez, morning from Texas. Twofer, Dad Joke Wednesday. How do bees get to school on the school buzz? Why do ducks have feathers on their tails to hide their butt quacks? Take my money. Very good, Jose.
I do like that one.
Elizabeth Gerards. Aldi's has cereal without dyes and tastes so much better. I didn't know
Interesting. See? We can do this, you guys. We can
totally
do it.
Yeah.
As long as they don't mess with donuts, we're fine.
They're not going to mess with donuts. And the donuts don't have, as long as you buy donuts like at local places, they don't have a bunch of crap in them. You just eat donuts, right?
Yeah.
Connie Cannell. I have a friend that went crazy on me. She has an autistic daughter. She was pissed because he didn't make it clear that he was talking about the 25%. I don't know. I'm not college educated and I understood. Yes, liberal. This is the thing. I don't know.
Oh my God.
People cannot listen to full context of anything because nobody has the attention span these days. It's ridiculous. R&R, not at NFSW, DJW. Charles Dickens had an apple orchard. His descendants started an apple cider brewery. And since then, every woman has loved a good Dickens cider. Get it?
A Dickens cider.
A Dickens cider. They're really good.
That is not at all a dirty joke at all.
No, they're good. Dickens ciders are good. Yeah. Just take my money in silence. It's a good joke.
Too late. We already said it out loud.
I did. I said it out loud. Reba Henry. Pete is actually right. I worked on the joint staff for 15 years. We watched military come in there who had a chance to change things for the better, but did nothing. All they wanted to do was punch their ticket for having a joint assignment. I believe this.
Totally. Totally believe it.
Lori McCoy. Please pray for my
family,
my family, especially my dad. My mom passed away yesterday unexpectedly at 79. Sad few days ahead. I'm so sorry, Lori. Everybody pray for Lori.
Yeah,
God bless you.
Cool.
I have a FFS Jenny O was in Killarney March 30th to April 9th and had a great time despite Rosie's presence. Thought I caught a glimpse of her, but it was just one of the sheep they have spray painted with rainbow colors. No, seriously, they do. Really? Oh my gosh.
I can see where you would make that mistake.
Exactly. She's very hairy and large. Everybody bring it in. We're bringing it in. Bring it in. We made it to Wednesday, you guys. We're at the hump. The hump day. Everybody have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.